Mother's Day is almost here, and you can get her the most beautiful time-tested gift around. A watch she can wear every day from Movement. Whether mom's into classic dress watches, rare and refined ceramics, or tried and true bestsellers, Movement has something she'll love. And right now you can save big on the best Mother's Day gift ever with up to 50% off site-wide during Movement's Mother's Day sale at MVMT.com. Again, that's up to 50% off at MVMT.com.
We made this.
Welcome back to We Are Starfleet, your Star Trek Discovery companion podcast and part of the We Made This podcast network. My name is Ian. I'm co-hosting here with Mike Slammer, and we are here to talk Star Trek Discovery Season 3, Episode 7, Unification III. We are especially thrilled this week to present a very special interview with a guest, one of the cast members of Discovery, Oyin Oladejo. She was a delight to talk to, and I know you guys are going to love hearing that conversation. Mike, how are you tonight?
Ian, thank you. I'm doing so well. It has been a wonderful holiday weekend. We celebrated Thanksgiving. We got to see some family. We were safe the entire time, masked up. Everything was very safe. We had a very small gathering of maybe like 5 people tops. So it was small, it was different, but it was nice to be with family. Bottom line.
Yeah, that sounds good. It was pretty low key here too. It's a strange holiday season this year.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel for so many people who can't be with their family, who can't be with their friends.
Yeah,
it's
for sure.
It's a mess out there, and for folks who are taking the chance, just take care of yourself, be as safe as possible.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I got to tell you, I am super excited about this interview that we had with Oyin. She was such a delight to talk to, and who knows? I mean, not for nothing, she was open to coming back on, so maybe.
It was just really nice to be able to have the opportunity for us to share almost an hour of her time. It was great. It was really great. I think we ended up with about a 35 minute interview, all told. So it was a really, really nice opportunity to talk to her and get to know her a little bit better.
It really was. And in the interest of getting to that interview, we are going to be skipping over some of the social media grabs that we do.
Yeah. We're going to try to expedite this episode to get you to that interview as fast as we can.
Oh, yeah. So
while still doing this episode justice, of course.
Oh, of course. I mean, Unification 3, there's so much to talk about here. It's so funny because, sitting down to watch this episode and, having it in the back of my mind that we also have the interview with Oyin involved. And I'm thinking, how are we going to edit this? How are we going to make this work? So without further ado, let's talk about our impressions of Unification 3.
Yeah. So for me, I thought this episode was a step up from last week. I liked it more on a second watch, on a closer watch, but there were still a few things about it that kind of held it back in my estimation. I think if I had to give this sort of a number grade, it would probably be like a 7.5, maybe at most for me. A lot of things really worked for me. But I don't know. I can't quite put my finger on it. I was left a little cold by the episode. It just didn't really have the impact that I think some of I could sort of see what it was trying to do and appreciate a lot of what it was trying to do. I just didn't feel as moved by it as I wanted to be, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I love that we're of the same mind about this stuff because I'm landing right on the same page as you. It was about a 7 for me, maybe a 7.5. Definitely a step up from last week's episode. It was written by Kirsten Beyer, who is a huge Star Trek novel-verse author, and she was kind of pulled into the CBS family for the Trek showrunners. And there's a lot of elements of the novel verse that get into this episode as a result. And I love it because some of these novels, I remember there's a lot of backstory on Vulcan in, I believe it was Spock's World. And I can't remember who wrote that, but it's an older the original series novel, and it kind of fills in the gaps of what Vulcan looks like and how it's mostly desert, and there's really like scary creatures out in the desert that they deal with, which actually came to fruition in season 2, where we saw the scene where Michael is running as a child and she gets attacked by this crazy looking alien creature. So it's not unheard of to bring in these elements from the novel verse, but I loved how it was done in such a unique, organic way. So shout out to Kirsten Beyer. I think she really did a good job of connecting a lot of the beta canon that's out there.
Sure, yeah, I'm less familiar with the novels than you, but yeah, I really enjoyed a lot of the writing in the episode. We'll get into what I think some of our issues were with the episode, but yeah, I generally really like Kirsten Beyer's work. I know that her knowledge and love of Star Trek is clearly woven throughout this episode. There are a lot of references, which we'll also get to. Touching on a variety of different elements of the Star Trek lore, especially as it pertains to Vulcans and Romulans.
For sure. So Unification III, episode 7, it aired November 26, 2020, Thanksgiving Day here in the United States. So it was nice to sit down after the big turkey and have a little watch. Written by Kirsten Beyer and directed by John Dukowski, who's actually, this was his directorial debut. He's actually an editor. So
cool.
I think, I mean, I don't know about you, but I felt like the direction was spot on. I didn't notice anything,
rock solid to me. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. You could have told me this is his 10th, 20th, 30th episode he directed, and I'd believe you.
Yep. Certainly felt assured.
Yeah. So let's jump right into this deep dive. The opening sequence with Michael touring the starship. Loved it. I think it really spoke to a lot of what a lot of fans and what we've been saying on the podcast. It's like, Michael is clearly not feeling at home here on the Discovery.
She's literally speaking to us. We opened with yet another log entry, and she's describing how uncertain she's feeling about her place in this new world, in the crew of Discovery, especially after her year alone. Well, not alone with her and Book, but isolated from her family on Disco. With no certainty about whether or not they would ever be seen again. She admits she let them go. So she's still very much dealing with that feeling of being disconnected from them.
Yeah, it's really telling that she goes to visit Book's ship, and it appears like she's basically staying on Book's ship while, his vessel is in Discovery Shuttle Bay, and she's kind of hanging out there. So I think that's definitely... It speaks to the disconnectedness.
Yeah, and it establishes what's on the table for her is leaving Disco behind. That's sort of what she's wrestling with in this episode. It's laid out in the very beginning. Book basically says like, "Hey, it's not that I hate being here, but this is not long term. But I think we are, so we could just leave." And that's what she's weighing during the episode.
Yeah, it really frames everything in a very specific light, and taking that in on my second watch was what kind of notched up the episode's rating.
And we see Burnham freshly demoted from first officer, returning to her science department duties, where Tilly gives her, I think, pretty mild scolding for the position that she put Tilly in last episode. This scene for me was necessary. I'm glad that they did it. I think that some of the problems that I had with last week's episode affected how I felt about this scene in particular, because I was still rattling around in my head when, all really Michael had to say for herself was simply an insistence that she had to go. And that was kind of insufficient for me, especially since her needing to go was never really the issue for me. It was more the way she chose to do it. acting like that was the only way she possibly could have done things. I mean, again, she didn't even leave Tilly or Saru a note for all we know. I mean, if I can establish if I can schedule a tweet to be delivered at a particular time, she could, schedule a message to be delivered when she leaves, Federation space. I don't know.
Exactly.
I'm not a super genius like she is, and yet she wasn't able to figure her way out of this particular puzzle. That aside, I'm glad that they had the opportunity to hash this out a little bit, and I'm glad to see that those consequences are carrying forward from last episode, even if I have my issues with exactly what those consequences are.
Sure. I mean, you're 100% right. If we had basically ignored what happened last episode and we went right into the A plot without addressing any of this emotional fallout with Tilly, especially Tilly, because Tilly and Michael are best friends on the Discovery. They share quarters, they spend a lot of time together. I'm sure, off screen they are doing, marathon training. They are going to the Hollow range together. I'm sure they spend a lot of time together. And it's very evident because Tilly is clearly very distraught by this. And, her friend left her hanging out to dry. And it's always hard to dress down your friend in that sort of way. And it really spoke to Tilly's emotional maturity and how she has come to evolve in her thinking process and how she has come to kind of respect her, not only her crewmates, but also the situations that she's placed in. She's able to look at it fully, but she doesn't lash out. She doesn't degrade Michael in any way or yell or shout or scream. She's clearly emotionally hurt. She clearly knows that Michael had a purpose and a reason for doing what she did. And it's a conversation, a hard one, between friends. So it's a very real moment. And, I'm glad we got to see that on screen.
Yeah, for sure. It would have been way worse for them not to have addressed it at all.
Yeah.
So now that Burnham has this black box data from last episode, she and Tilly draw closer on locating the origin of the burn. But they discover that they need data from this station, SB-19, this data that they don't have, but that they think Admiral Vance can get access to.
So what's interesting to me is that they triangulate to a certain position, right, where these three vessels, the black boxes, apparently the 1/1,000,000th of a second delay in between these starships being blown out of the sky as a result of the burn. And this indicates to Michael that there's an origin point. There's a delay. It didn't just simply happen all at once like everyone thought it did. There is something there. There's another element, another piece of the puzzle, right? So you've got these three starships. By the way, shout out to the USS Yelchin, named after Anton Yelchin, who played Ensign Chekhov in the J.J. Abrams trilogy. Say what you will about the trilogy. You and I can save it for an off-season episode. I personally loved it. I thought, those movies were fun, campy, popcorn fodder. But the casting was so great, and Anton Yelchin nailed it with his portrayal of Chekhov.
Yeah, it was a nice way for them to honor him on screen and in the Prime universe, as it were.
Yeah. So these three points, right? They lead to this massive location where the burn could, big asterisk mark, could have originated, which means that we need more information because, the search area is too large. The parameters are too varied to really understand what they should be looking for. So that's when we learn about the SB-19 data. And the SB-19 essentially involves some kind of experiment that Vulcan was working on.
Yeah, so Vulcan was tasked by the Federation with working on this project at SB-19 that was a dilithium-free, faster-than-light travel method. And the Vulcans were concerned about the danger that the experiment posed, and they became convinced once the burn happened that it was their experiment and the Federation forcing them to conduct it that caused the burn. Burnham believes that her new data demonstrates that.
It is Ryan here, and I have a question for you. What do you do when you win? Like, are you a fist pumper, a woohooer, a hand clapper, a high fiver? I kind of like the high five, but if you want to hone in on those winning moves, check out Chumba Casino. At ChumbaCasino.com, choose from hundreds of social casino style games for your chance to redeem serious cash prizes. There are new game releases weekly, plus free daily bonuses. So don't wait. Start having the most fun ever at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Can't be the case. So she's determined to go to Vulcan, which we learned is now called Navarre, and plead her case, essentially get that data from them, because once the burn happened, planet Navarre left the Federation and restricted that data from the Federation. They chose not to share it with them.
Yeah, we get a lot of this in exposition from Admiral Vance, who, played by Oded Fehr, killing it out there as our admiral for the new Starfleet Federation. Yeah,
he was really carrying a lot of exposition load this week and did it really well.
Yeah, it did feel like a little bit of an info dump. I'm always a big fan of the show, not tell. But in this case, it worked, I thought.
Since he was clear. I mean, he was telling them. It's one of those things. He's telling them at the same time as he's telling us. But it made sense why they didn't already have the information. It wasn't so unnecessary.
Yeah, and it kicks off the start of the episode, right, wherein you have an admiral briefing your crew to go off on this crazy mission, which is a direct mirror. Well, not even a mirror. It's literally a copy of how Unification I started, with an admiral coming on board the starship and saying, "Hey, Captain Picard, we've got this new intel about a possible defector," and giving a little bit of exposition, and then the next thing you know, we're off into the episode. So that all tracked perfectly well for me, and I enjoyed it as a sequence. And more time with Oded Fehr because I really love his portrayal.
Yeah, he correctly points out that Michael Burnham as Spock's brother is uniquely positioned to sort of get her foot in the door diplomatically with Navarre, since they've left the Federation over a century earlier.
Yeah, so what happened in Unification 1 and 2 anyway?
So in Unification 1 and 2, we learned that now Ambassador Spock has taken it upon himself to embark on this mission of reunification between the Vulcan and Romulan societies that have been split for millennia. Obviously, after the destruction of Romulus, the Romulans not having a homeworld anymore per se, I can only imagine complicated that process. But we learned that in the intervening centuries since Spock's death, that reunification process that he began did in fact work, and the Romulans and Vulcans now have a joint homeworld of Navarre, where they live in, well, as we learn through the episode, an uneasy peace, but a peace nonetheless.
Right. It seems as though the reunification of Romulans and Vulcans has resulted, as you said, in this uneasy peace. You have these two joint species of people, sister tribes, if you will, living on the same planet, which they renamed Navarre after the Romulans had settled there. And I do like how this episode and Discovery is leaving it somewhat vague and open. Like, we didn't visit the planet at all. Everything took place on the Discovery. We did not really get to see anything of Romulans settling there. We're just supposed to take it at face value, right? Like, this already happened. We're here. This is what it is. And I think that's really to leave it up to the events of Star Trek Picard to really kind of sort out a little bit and let Picard tell their story.
Yeah, and we do get some ties in to Picard in addition to that Next Generation two-parter, Unification 1 and 2. Going back to those earlier Next Gen episodes, we actually see some footage of Leonard Nimoy's Spock from Unification 2. Michael Burnham watches, along with Book, a recording of Spock as he explains to then Captain Picard why it's so important that he take on this mission of reunification between these two peoples.
Right. I did see, we skipped the social media bit this week, but I did see quite a number of complaints, actually, about, how could they get this footage of Spock? There was no cameras unless Picard brought a camera with him. But, my reaction to that is, if Captain Riker or Commander Riker can have a full holodeck replay of the events of the early Federation, and, the Enterprise NX-01 didn't have any cameras on it. There was no indication that they were being recorded 100% of the time. These are clearly, recreations of the logs that were submitted. Come on, guys. Is that what we're complaining about?
I hear your point. I wouldn't use the absolute worst episode of Enterprise to make your point. I think it could be made without referencing that particular awful thing that they did.
Hey, be careful now. There's a lot of Enterprise superfans who listen to this pod, so they might come after you.
All the Enterprise superfans I know also hate that last episode. In fact, I think all the Enterprise superfans exclusively hate that last episode. Nevertheless, we, nitpicking aside, presumably, it could be a recreation, maybe an audio recording. Who knows? Doesn't matter. That was the one sequence, I know I mentioned earlier that the episode really kind of left me feeling a little cold, which I thought was maybe fitting given the Vulcan theme. But this part definitely moved me. We'll come back to it later when we mention standout moments, but I really was affected by seeing Leonard Nimoy on the screen with Sonequa Martin Green. I thought, how wonderful that we've managed to do this. In 2020. I was really thankful to have that moment on the screen.
It's such a nice moment for Michael Burnham to see that this brother of hers has gone on to live such a rich and wonderful and purposeful life. And, she didn't know what happened to Spock when she left them all behind. And now she knows, and now she understands and can move on, with her own life, knowing that, hey, I didn't leave family behind for nothing.
Yeah, and I love how they even sort of established the importance of Spock very subtly when Admiral Vance just casually mentions Ambassador Spock as if he was just such a well-known, take it for granted historical figure that he could just drop Ambassador Spock and everyone knows who you're talking about. Just like George Washington, he's that well known in 32nd century Federation still. I love that.
Right. She watches this holo with Booker next to her, and Booker has a nice little joke in there, and it feels a little meta. He calls her like, oh, you're an overachiever. Like, you all are. Like, oh my gosh, this is unbelievable. And that kind of goes to hit the whole cynicism and true believer aspect of Starfleet and the Federation and people who work so hard, right? And I think it kind of underscores this feeling that, it's not just Michael, it's not just the crew of the Discovery, it's not just the Enterprises throughout history or the Voyagers or the Defiance, it's all of Starfleet who are constantly overachieving. And it underscores this level of importance and how everyone in the Federation is important and are working hard and really giving it their all.
After we get this nice moment with Spock, is this where Saru offers Tilly XO, or is that a little bit after this?
It's actually, I believe it cuts right to the ready room with Saru asking Tilly. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
This is where we were speculating about who would be first officer after Michael was demoted, and we of course said it couldn't be Tilly. She was only an ensign and was brand spanking new, despite the fact that, of course, Mary Wiseman is a main cast member, and if you're going to have someone be the XO, it does make sense to have it be a main cast member.
True.
But she's made acting.
I think it's important to really notate here that it's acting XO. That is a different role from the actual first officer, right? I think it's being framed as a kind of an on-the-job training opportunity for someone that Saru has identified as a potentially very, very capable officer, and they got a little glimpse of what she was capable of in the Mirror Universe too. That's true.
So they have some information to go on that she's got a lot of potential inside her. So I kind of understand the on-the-job training assignment part of it, but I don't know. I still found it a little bit surprising from I know it's silly to talk about the real world aspect of a Star Trek show, but it just rung as would this really be happening?
Yeah.
On a quasi-military Starfleet, I don't know. But I really like Mary Wiseman. I really like Tilly, and I'm willing to see where they go with it.
Yeah. I mean, in our Discord chat for the We Made This network, one of our co-creator colleagues, he mentioned that he liked it because it gives Tilly something to do this season, which I thought about it after he made that comment. And it occurred to me that in season 2, Tilly kind of got maybe not left by the wayside in terms of her character development or anything like that.
You're right.
She was always,
we talked about that a little bit.
Yeah, she was always just kind of there, and she had lines and whatnot, but she didn't have a lot to actually do. And this gives her the capability to continue her command track program, right? So she's an ensign. Let's break this down a little bit. She's an ensign on board the starship. We know that ensigns are given command of the night shift, for example. They often carry out very important ship-wide duties. Sometimes they manage staff rosters. They're kind of like, they get specific orders and they get specific assignments that they follow through on, and they're not always these ship-wide cataclysmic orders and assignments that they have to deal with. It's usually much more mundane work, to kind of give them the feel of what command actually is, to get them the experience that they need. And Saru making Tilly the acting XO is a great way for Tilly to gain some more of that experience that she so desperately needs. As she states in the episode, she's no longer in the program because they're in the future now and they jumped, and there's no precedent for that. So, and Saru says it out loud. He says, listen, we jump to the future. In my view, you have more qualifications than many other, current era Starfleet personnel do. You know, like she knows the ship, she knows the crew. So his decision to ask her to be acting XO isn't out of the blue. You know, there was a lot of talk about like making her actual first officer and how a lot of fans, you know, wouldn't like that. I also wouldn't like that. But acting, I feel like that's a little bit of a compromise.
I hear you. I do. It's just, you know, the thing, the point that he made and that you just repeated, saying that, you know, her experience coming to the future like this, everything they went through as a crew, outstrips all of the experience of a lot of her 32nd century contemporaries. But you can also say that about every other member of the crew who also have all of that additional rank and experience above what Tilly has too.
Well, it's hard to argue with you on that note. I mean, I 100%, like if we had a betting pool going, I would have money on Lieutenant Hilson having gotten that job right out of the gate.
Yep, me too. Yeah, I would have thought that was the safe money, but what do we know?
What do we know?
Couple of schmucks.
This is why I don't go to casinos, because every time I'm like, yes, this is it for me. Nah, there I am, $500 later.
Yeah, no, I lose every time.
Yeah, but it's okay. I mean, you know, we're going to talk about it a little bit more too, about the whole, you know, when she gets with Stamets and they kind of discuss it a little bit, and the rest of the crew.
Yes, we'll get into the arc of Tilly for the episode.
Yeah.
After that scene, we have Disco arrive at formerly Vulcan, now Navarre. They zap into orbit and are greeted by Tarina, the president of Navarre, who...
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, you know, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18 plus.
Is a Vulcan, and they make their entreaties to this president, Tarina, and they are rebuffed. They are told that the reunified society of Navarre has been unstable since the burn and the intervening 100 years, and the controversy surrounding SB-19 and its potential role in causing the burn has played a not small role in the discord in their society, and they don't want to reopen those wounds. And so, no, they say no. They refuse to release the SB-19 data to the Federation. They don't want to reopen this case, as it were. They want to leave it in the past.
Yes, what I really liked about this scene here is that President Tarina, the leader of this new unified planet for Vulcans and Romulans, is immediately available and beams right to the Discovery. And, you know, I'm sure she changed her entire schedule around to accommodate and come on board. And the reason I say this is because in TOS, TNG, and Voyager, it always seemed like, you know, the highest leader of a planet or a government was always available at the drop of a hat as soon as they were hailed. Oh, hi, you know, new starship in orbit. You know, we're here for you. It's I always kind of got a kick out of that. And I know, you know, there's web comics and jokes about it all around, but it's such a nice callback to see, you know, that we're getting back to that element of let's just get right to it.
Yeah. So after Tarina, president of Navarre, rejects Burnham's pleas, Burnham steps up and invokes something called the Tikal in Ket, which is a of course, an obscure Vulcan ritual that the Vulcan Science Academy uses for philosophical debate, essentially. The Tikal and Ket it's a quorum of three sort of elders who will rigorously question Michael Burnham, and she will have to defend her hypothesis to this. It's basically a doctoral dissertation. She's defending her dissertation to a panel of Vulcans. That's what she's doing.
Yes. Who are specifically, I believe that these three individuals are from the Vulcan Science Academy, and are leaders. It represents
the new society. It is comprised of one Vulcan, one Romulan, and one half Vulcan, half Romulan.
Right. I can't remember any notable times that we have seen the Vulcan Science Academy, the actual leaders of it, on screen before, with the exception of the Kelvinverse, the J.J. Abrams film, Star Trek 2009.
When Spock tells them to live long and prosper.
Yes, in a very, sarcastic kind of a way, which is very enjoyable. It's a nice little middle finger.
It's a precursor to the sarcastic Vulcan salute that we see in Lower Decks.
Yeah, the interesting thing about this Tikal and Ket that Burnham instigates, once she invokes it and demands a trial, if you will, it has to happen. And this means that T'Rina, as the president of Navarre, she's no longer, she can't actually make any decisions, which kind of really screws her over a little bit. And Burnham knows it. She's like, I understand that I put you in a difficult position. And T'Rina's response is basically, well, you better hope this works for you because, you're really screwing everybody here.
Which is basically Burnham's entire MO all the time. I'm going to do this thing that's going to put you in this really uncomfortable position. And you're just going to have to hope that I know what I'm doing, which I only sometimes do.
Like, her best friend literally just dressed her down for this, and now you have the
She
president.
got demoted for this. And now she's like, I know what to do, the exact thing that I always get in trouble for,
let me just keep doing it. Let me just keep doing it.
But of course, this time they establish, I think what distinguishes her actions in this episode is they clearly set up this is in fact the only way to accomplish this goal. And now this is why Michael feels like she has to step in and do this. What I like about the episode and where it goes, which we'll get into in more detail, is that Michael kind of really has to face she has to face the consequences of that, and she has to face the reality that her way is not always the best way, and she sometimes needs to relinquish a little bit of the control she so desperately craves.
Yes.
So as the Tikal and Ket gets underway, this quorum of three arrives on Disco, as well as an advocate for Burnham, because of course, no space trial can be had without a space advocate.
That's right.
And Burnham's advocate is none other than her mother, Dr. Gabriel Burnham, who is now living on Navarre, a sworn sister of the Qowat Milat, first introduced in Star Trek Picard.
Yes, the Qowat Milat. Let's talk about the Qowat Milat for a second. For listeners who may not have seen Star Trek Picard, the Qowat Milat is like a tribe, an order of Romulan warrior nuns. They are all female, with the exception of one male on screen in Star Trek Picard by the name of Eleanor. They are a order of individuals, of Romulans, who believe in the way of absolute candor. And what does this mean? It means the total communication of your emotions and your thoughts without any filter. And Romulans, in the history of Star Trek have always been conniving, they've been manipulative, they've been paranoid, secretive, all these things. So for an order of Romulan nuns to go exactly contrary to that is a very interesting, and personally for me, it was one of my favorite parts of the Star Trek Picard series.
Agreed. And it's interesting to, one can maybe draw conclusions from the fact that they appear to have at least a prominent place in this new, combination Vulcan-Romulan society. Mm-hmm. And that's a stark contrast to the Romulan homeworld when the Tal Shiar, the Romulan secret police, basically ruled that world with an iron fist. Clearly, this new culture that's on Navarre has at least theoretically embraced this concept of absolute candor in their society, a society that, at least on the Romulan side, on the Romulan side, was devoted to, if anything, absolute secrecy and deceit in most things.
Yes, and another startling tenet of the Qowat Milat is that their members are highly skilled in melee combat. They fight with swords, they fight with bows. They are extremely agile and extremely intelligent, highly educated, and they dedicate themselves to those who they would believe are a lost cause.
Yes, she lets Michael know that she's bound herself to her in service for this, oh my God, what the hell is it called? The T'Kalan Cat. Sorry.
Cat, yeah. It took me a few minutes to think about that word too. Don't worry.
Because in her view, it is a lost cause. Michael still believes that no, if I just argue my case with facts and logic, they'll agree with me. And
yes, but a mother knows best, right?
Yeah, mother knows best, and it is what is perhaps a reflection of the world in which we live. Her mother points out, no, they have their own facts and logic that they're going to follow, regardless of what facts and logic you're bringing to the table. Trust me, you are here on a lost cause, and Michael refuses to believe this. She plows ahead.
Yes, and I made the connection here, and I don't know if it's intentional or not, but in an earlier episode where the Discovery first arrives to the Starbase HQ and meets with Admiral Vance very forcefully states, you are now here, even though there's no record of you ever existing. Two truths exist in one space. And I really love that line. It's a brilliant quote from that episode. And that works here too, because there are many truths, right? And they may all, in fact, be true, because it's a matter of perspective. And for the Vulcan-Romulan alliance, for this unification to work, there has to be a certain set of truths that they can all agree on. And if they're not all in agreement, when they come to the Discovery to learn after having agreed to one truth, like they've agreed, we caused the burn, this is something we did, and we're stepping away because that's our duty and we need to work on ourselves. So now here comes Michael with her own set of truths, and therein lies the conundrum.
Yeah, and Vulcans do have something of a history, a bit of which is called out in this episode by one of the Romulans, of, laying a veneer of, logic and rationality over an irrational or illogical conclusion that they've just decided to make because it's convenient or easy.
Yes.
An example of this in Enterprise is when they're dealing with, ironically enough, time travel. The Vulcan Science Academy in that era decided that time travel is impossible. Therefore, all evidence to the contrary is simply to be ignored and dismissed.
Yes.
Because they decided it's completely backwards. Completely backwards. And they get called out a little bit on that later in this episode too. So it is interesting that's sort of in my mind watching this, and listening to, these arguments among these Vulcans. It was kind of going on in the back of my head too, that, their assuredness that the data that they have proves that their conclusion is correct, doesn't mean anything, because they could have just decided that that's what they want it to be true, and they'll bend their facts to underline that conclusion.
Yeah. Really great sequence following this, where we have Captain Saru and President Tarina kind of having a nice little discussion, and they get to chat a little bit, which I really love. Everything to do with Captain Saru. He is really coming into his own. Doug Jones, again, man, we're just going to keep coming back to it. We're going to keep tagging him on Twitter. He's going to keep liking it. Eventually he's going to hear it, if he hasn't already, because he's liked a number of our tweets at this point. So, hey, Doug, if you're interested, you and I actually sat next to each other on a couch to watch an episode back at the New York CBS studios, which is really cool. And if you'd like to come on the podcast, we are here. Please reach out anytime. But I love the whole sequence with President Tarina. And correct me if I'm wrong, but is there a little element of flirtatiousness there?
I think as far as it goes with Vulcans, perhaps. She certainly did pay him a compliment at the end. And she wanted to make sure that he understood that it was a compliment, which to me says at least as much as the fact that she gave him one. And they did seem to have a little bit of chemistry, and I really enjoyed all of their scenes together, discussing this strange new future that Saru finds himself in. And she expresses skepticism about the Federation and its motives, and his certainty about the purity of those motives is met with a lot of skepticism on her part. But they've also been separated from the Federation for a century at this point. So it's possible, as Saru kind of hints at, that things have changed.
Yeah. There's a lot coming up that I hope we get to visit Navarre again and maybe see how this whole maybe reunification with the Federation kind of shakes out, with Tarina and Saru continuing their conversations. I think that's something I would be interested to see.
I'd like to see a Unification IV.
Yeah, so
Unification the Federation reunifying with Navarre.
Yep. So it kind of plays out a little bit where we have Burnham's mom, Gabrielle, kind of sharing, a little bit of backstory about how she...
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Coincidence? I think not. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere, even at 30,000 feet. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
No purchase necessary. VGW. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Never made it to Terra Elysium and actually wound up on Esau 4, which is the planet that was that had the gravitational
where they
set the trap. Right. Yeah. So she snapped back to Esau 4, and there were some colonists there who healed her and helped rescue her and actually gave her to the Qowat Milat for treatment, essentially. Apparently she was very injured, and this is where Burnham's mother kind of fell in with the Qowat Milat and took to them and stayed with them for the duration of the time while living her life in the future. So Burnham is there with her mom, and they have a wonderful moment where they're just talking, and Michael is opening herself up to her mother, and this turns out to be not a great idea, at least in that moment, right? Because later on in the episode, Gabrielle turns a lot of that around and kind of reveals a lot of these private thoughts that Michael had given to her. But this is the way of the Qowat Milat. There is nothing hidden. It's always open.
And the private thoughts are essentially that she has doubts about the place that she has in the Federation of the future.
Yeah. Something she's been struggling with, and she finally has a chance to face it head on. So Gabrielle gives Burnham a little bit of lay of the land about who she's going to be speaking with, what kind of strategy you're going to need. Like, think about what you need to be saying, what you need to be doing, right? So Burnham says, I'm going to appeal with logic and facts. A Vulcan purist who sits on this quorum will obviously respond to logic. And Burnham's mother says very correctly, you're going into this with a lot of blind spots.
Yeah. As she is sometimes wont to do.
Oh, yes.
We cut back to Trina and Saru. Trina's explaining that the Federation became overextended with time, neglecting the needs of its core systems in an effort to support everybody in times of growing crisis and dwindling resources. And she basically lays the case, or starts to lay the case, that the Federation kind of got too big for its britches and forgot about the people who made it great in the first place. And Saru sort of argues that, the Federation is nothing if not humbled by the burn, and perhaps it's time for a renewed dialogue.
Yes, great quotable moment here from Captain Saru. The greatest lessons are learned when the heaviest price is paid.
The Federation has paid a heavy price.
Yes, indeed. Something interesting there. I think a lot of folks have talked about this on fan forums, especially after Deep Space Nine, dealings with the Borg. You have Voyager. Oh gosh, I can't remember the episode of DS9, but you had Commander Michael Eddington and the Maquis, right, where they took off, and he says it. He says, the Federation is even more insidious than the Borg, because at least the Borg come and tell you, like, hey, we're going to assimilate you. The Federation doesn't do that. They just come over, and then all of a sudden you're a part of the Federation, whether you like it or not. And I think that is something very real that a lot of people get concerned about.
Yeah,
and
it's something that T'Kuvma mentions in the beginning of Discovery.
Exactly.
He talks about how the Federation, the insidious phrase, we come in peace.
We come in peace. And here we come full circle, and this is what I love about this particular show. It's all connected. So the T'Kal and Ket begins. And it's being held presumably in what looks like a conference room, whether it's Saru's ready room or not. It's hard to tell, but it looks like just a recycled set. But this is a classic trial type episode that takes place on the starship, where they clear out a room and they use it to facilitate the proceedings. And you have members of the Discovery crew, including Captain Saru. And you have a number of citizens from Navarre, including Romulans and Vulcans. Yeah,
the quorum convenes, all very, very formally, and everyone's leaning into the ceremony of everything at first, and then it's actually the Vulcan purist who steps into Michael's opening spiel and basically says, hey, if the facts you're here to present are what we've already looked at from what you sent over, then we're not impressed.
Yep.
You can leave.
We're out.
Yep. See you later. The Romulan quorum member, on the other hand, wants to hear them out, and the Romulan Vulcan member sort of abstains from this first confrontation, and there's no consensus reached. The Gabrielle Burnham says, let's all convene to be in our thoughts, or something like. It's very Vulcan. It's very okay. We've now reached this first impasse. Let's all just stand here quietly and contemplate. And I loved it. It actually cracked me up quite a bit the second time. It struck me as very, very Arch, very Vulcan.
Very much so.
Yeah. And the very dramatic scene transitions into this lighter scene with Tilly kind of very uncertainly coming up to Stamets and saying, hey, Saru's offered me this first officer job. This is ridiculous, right? Like that. What do you think about me saying yes? And Stamets starts to process that, like, well, it would be weird. It would be a little bit weird for him to be taking orders from her. And
yeah, Anthony Rapp's face is doing all the heavy lifting on the acting there, because like you can see as soon as Tilly asks, like,
he's got a lot of feelings about it.
The reactions go from like, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
To no. To I don't really like where this is going. But then they're interrupted. But before they're interrupted, I think it's very interesting that Ensign Tilly goes to Lieutenant Commander Stamets and asks this question. And it's a very real thing, to go to someone who's a little bit higher up than you to ask their advice on career path, right? And it's a very normal thing. And Stamets says the idea of taking orders from Tilly is weird, it's disturbing, it's ridiculous. And it's kind of a real thing that I think a lot of fans are like, hey, yeah, that's us. It would be weird, it would be disturbing.
Yeah, he's sort of standing in this scene. This scene sort of stands in for a series of conversations that I think she could or would in quote unquote real life be having with her crewmates about how they would feel taking orders from her essentially jumping people who've maybe been in Starfleet for years, for the opportunity to be promoted. And it's honestly one of the issues that I had with this episode was I wish that they had kind of fleshed this process out a little bit more, because as we see, it's really this scene and that's it.
Yeah,
we go from Saru offers Tilly the XO position. This scene is the entirety of her wrestling with that. And then the next scene is Stamets gets the crew together and they're all saying, hey, yeah, you should definitely do this. Say yes to Saru.
Yeah.
To me, it really was an underbaked element of this week's story. And it's too bad because it was a lot for, I think, both the crew and the audience to accept. So I really would have liked to see a little bit more investment in that story. I could have done with another scene or two. Maybe give Tilly a crisis or a problem for her to solve this week. Something to
rally around.
Something to show herself and maybe a doubting crew member. Maybe show Stamets or someone else. The audience.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyone. That she is in fact ready for this job, because I think they didn't quite leave it in the oven long enough.
Yeah, definitely agree with you on that. Saru basically gave her the day to think about it. Like, hey, let's reconvene and we'll talk about this.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
But then we don't really get
a
sense
day
of her actually using that time. Yeah.
Yeah. And her Tilly going around to different crew members would have been a nice element of characterization, a nice element of development. It could have been a good opportunity to put Linus in a non-comedic situation, even.
Sure.
To kind of give a little bit more depth to some of the other crew members. Like, it didn't have to be Stamets that she went to. It could have been Lieutenant Nilsson, who we all thought was in line for the job.
Right.
Yeah, and meanwhile, getting back to the quorum here, you have a situation where they've convened for a little recess, and Burnham is in the hall, in the corridor with her mother, and obviously the quorum has arrived with their minds made up essentially, and she's under this belief that, of course, she's right. She's trustworthy. She works hard, and she's a member of the Federation, and she's coming here on their behalf. And her mother kind of calls her out. It's like, hey, are you doing this for the Federation, or are you doing this for yourself? You have to be truthful, and you need to be open and transparent. And the audience isn't just the quorum itself, but it's also everybody in the room.
Right. Which Burnham doesn't put together at first, but she does at the end. Yes.
So the quorum resumes, right? And Burnham comes into the room, and she's very, she's all Michael Burnham about it, and says, listen, this data is legit. It shows that the SB-19 did not cause the burn, but she's not quite certain, and she's humbly coming and asking for help. She needs more information. She needs the Vulcan Science Academy's data set on the SB-19. So, that's when the quorum gets into it, and they're like, well, Navarre did not leave the Federation without giving us any kind of thought. Obviously, they really feel very strongly that the burn caused this. The leader of the quorum, the Vulcan purist, Vakir, he is definitely not interested in hearing any of it, and he's trying to get out of the whole situation. There's a little bit of back and forth between the quorum here, where we get some exposition about what's going on planetside, how the Romulans and the Vulcans are getting along. There's unrest. It sounds like there's some rioting going on.
Yeah, and there's going back to, Burnham's presentation of the facts. She's asking this quorum to trust her as a representative of the Federation, and by extension the Federation itself. And they point out that, hey, we left the Federation for good reasons, and we did not make that decision lightly. We learn actually one of the things that Vance mentioned in his info dump earlier in the episode, that the Romulans actually wanted to stay in the Federation. It was the Vulcans who wished to leave. And anyway, Gabrielle Burnham points out to her daughter that you disobeyed Starfleet and the Federation regularly. Yes. In fact, you did it basically yesterday. You told me today that you don't know whether or not you belong in the Federation. So, why are you vouching for these people that you regularly think, don't match up to your level of wisdom and judgment? And Michael's like, really, Mom? In front of all these people?
I love the look on her face. I love Sonequa Martin Green's expressions. She plays them so well. Just this. Great. She turns and she's like, what are you doing? What's this face you're giving? What are you doing to me right now? I can't.
I'm your child. Can you take this knife out of my back?
You're putting me on blast, Mom.
Really just drove the bus over her, backed it up, did it again.
A couple more times. Jesus. But this is the way of absolute candor. And this is why. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Okay. And this is why, Gabrielle Burnham is telling Michael, you need to be transparent, you need to be honest, and you need to be correct and truthful and present the facts. And to Michael's mind, it's just, the fact is the fact, but she's missing the point. And the point is, it is about Burnham, because Burnham is Spock's sister. And if Burnham screws us up, then, Spock's reputation is destroyed, right? That's the stake that is in the ground right now. And Burnham fears that, the burn is such a situation.
It's time for today's Lucky Land horoscope with Victoria Cash.
Life's gotten mundane, so shake up the daily routine and be adventurous with a trip to Lucky Land. You know what they say. Your chance to win starts with a spin. So go to LuckyLandSlots.com to play over 100 social casino-style games for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. Get lucky today at LuckyLandSlots.com.
Available to players in the U.S., excluding Washington and Michigan. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply.
It is Ryan here, and I have a question for you. What do you do when you win? Like, are you a fist pumper, a woohooer, a hand clapper, a high fiver? I kind of like the high five, but if you want to hone in on those winning moves, check out Chumba Casino. At ChumbaCasino.com, choose from hundreds of social casino style games for your chance to redeem serious cash prizes. There are new game releases weekly, plus free daily bonuses. So don't wait. Start having the most fun ever at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Galaxy-wide catastrophe. It needs to be solved. And Burnham is, she's saying, like, I'm fighting for the greater good. And this is where Gabrielle Burnham says, and why are you struggling with your place on the ship? And this all takes place in front of Captain Saru. It takes place in front of President Tarina and the Quorum and, citizens of Navarre and the crew members. So now that Burnham, she finally admits, she's like, I've been struggling and, I don't know. And, she says this problem is such a big one right now and I fear failure, right? So then Gabrielle turns and she says, well, now that Burnham has spoken truthfully, now we can continue.
Yeah. And that's when the situation starts to devolve a bit because the Vulcans pretty firmly plant their flag in the ground that doesn't matter. Essentially good for you, candor or not. We're not subjecting our society to the strain of reopening this wound. Mm-hmm. See you later. Go kick rocks. And the Romulan Corps member is like, you know what? We don't need your permission. We'll share it.
We're just going to do it anyway. Yeah.
Exactly. And as Michael Burnham stands there beginning to witness a little bit of a breakdown, stitches of this society start to tear. Yeah. She essentially steps forward and says, you know what? Not worth it. Not worth it. I'm going to withdraw my request. Yep. And she does. She says, you know what? This particular bit of data, this particular bit of evidence, I'm no longer going to be so single-minded in my pursuit of this answer that I destroy anything and everyone in my path. Yes. No longer am I going to make the kinds of decisions that led me to what I did last week. Right, right. Which is a nice humbling moment for Burnham where she finally understands. Which is good, and I really, really, really hope it marks permanent character growth. Yes. And not simply a resolution of the week. Right. But we'll see. It's important to note here that not only is she withdrawing her challenge, but she's openly saying at the same time that she's going to go look for new data. And whatever she finds, she is going to send to the Vulcan Science Academy to do with what they so please. And she's going to be open. Trust them. She's going to trust them. And she says, whatever I find, I'm going to be open. I'm going to be transparent because that's what the Federation is. And that, as Gabrielle Burnham alluded to in her earlier conversation with Michael, was seen and heard by Tarina, who was in that audience. Those three members of the quorum were not the only people who were watching Michael and listening to Michael in there. Yes. Tarina decides that Michael is worth the risk. Spock's sister, this version of Spock's sister is worth the risk to trust her with this SB-19 data. And she does that at the end. Gabrielle Burnham remains behind on Navarre, but now is able to say to Michael for the very first time in a long time that... You know where to find me. Exactly. It's really nice to have a little bit of closure for our main character here with a open storyline that was hanging over her head. Yeah, this is a really nice bookend to that first, this is the first time that they've seen each other since that last time when she was being ripped into a wormhole. And everybody was getting shot at the same time. Everybody was getting shot at, and they really couldn't have the reunion. Gabrielle Burnham didn't want to be there. She was like, she refused to engage with her at first at all. She was combative. It was certainly not a reunion to remember. No. Then this, where she gets to say goodbye, but it's certainly an open, like, you can see me anytime. You know where I am. Like, you now know how to find me. I'm no longer lost, and you are no longer lost to me. A wonderful way to end that little arc for them.
Yeah. Some good closure on that.
Yeah. And the lab and the bridge crew and assorted other extras have been gathered by Stamets in the lab to ask Tilly to agree to be the XO. And she does. She does. It's one of those tearful,
we're all friends. We support you. We're here to help you, take the acting first officer position. And, Stamets gives her a big shout out. It's like Saru made the right choice. It's a nice, crew complimentary moment. You have all the main cast around. It wasn't my favorite. Like I said, I had a bit of a problem with the way they handled that particular B plot this week. Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it earlier. It was an underbaked plot, and I think that moment would have paid off so much if we had a little bit more of Tilly going around and talking to others. And I feel as though, or if this was a little arc that carried over into next week's episode. I mean, there's no rush. He gave her the day. We could see this. It could. I don't know. We could have just seen more of it, and I think I would have liked to have seen more of it, or to have had it a bit more established in prior episodes leading up to this episode. Some more examples of Tilly stepping up. I mean, really, we had her episode. Maybe I'm misremembering, and if I am, you can correct me. But we had her moment with Saru last week, where he definitely noted that she was of a different cloth than Michael, and then their standout moments in episode 2 together, which were great. I would have loved to have seen a little bit more of that if this was the direction that they knew that they were going to go. Either way, Tilly is acting XO, and she is. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. No. I think she'll be good at her job, or she'll learn interestingly. Yeah, and Mary Wiseman plays the role great. Everyone's excited to see more of Mary, and I really like this new, I don't know if new is the right phrase, but this evolved Tilly come about, as opposed to the frenetic type that we had back in season 2. And you made a good point earlier. It will actually be good to have her have more to do. I think giving her a little bit more of a structured role is going to suit her well. Yeah, for sure. The character on the show will be fine, but I mean, like, I think that character will be easier for them to write if she has a bit more structure. The final scenes with Tarina and Saru, we talked a little bit about that. I love that moment with Captain Saru and President Tarina. They have a nice moment. Tarina delivers a nice compliment. They agree to continue their conversation, and Tarina beams away. Really nice, and like I said earlier, I hope it continues. Yeah, we're going to see Kelpian Vulcan babies. It's going to be great. I wasn't going to go there, but that'll be an interesting take. Then we also get a little bit of a bookend to that opening scene between Michael and Book. Michael tells Book that she's staying with Disco, and he's not really sure what that means for him. He says that she feels like home to him, and she feels the same about him, and we are left there. With a hanging that particular decision onto a future episode, I guess. It works. It certainly works. For sure. Booker is not a Federation type. He is definitely the Han Solo of the Trek universe right now. But I think
I'd be perfectly happy with. I really liked his character. I like the actor who plays him. I think their chemistry works. I'd be happy if he's the Han Solo, where he's got his own thing going on, and he kind of pops in and out when the adventure of the week calls for it.
And it's also useful to have someone of that type who can serve as a not like an ambassador or an operative or anything like that, but who can be of a different cut and get them into different places, and to kind of be like a little bit of an informant, a consultant, if you will.
Yeah, him not wearing the uniform and being closely associated with the Federation is going to allow him into some doors that people in Federation uniform could not necessarily enter.
Yes. So what else in this episode? What did we miss anything? Is there anything we gotta highlight here?
We got the USS Yelchin mentioned. That was a really nice reference that they did for him there. I thought it was a little funny that Burnham was so incredulous that Vulcan would leave the Federation as a founding member. Like, you just left Earth a couple of episodes ago,
and Earth left.
And Andoria is now aligned with the Orions. Like, hello. You know that two of the, one of the original founding members is basically openly at war with the Federation now, and another has left it a century ago. How are you at all surprised by this? She just seemed so I don't know. It was a weird reaction for this late in the season. You know too much about this universe now to be this surprised.
Yep.
But yeah, I think we covered the episode pretty well.
Yeah,
if I do say so myself.
I would agree with you.
Thoroughly is what I meant to say.
Lots of callbacks to Vulcan. You have Navarre is a term that comes from the novel verse. It is a term that means to form, and it was an art form practiced on Vulcan. So, okay. and the idea is that there are two different viewpoints or two different aspects or natures to a subject, to a perspective, and that is where Navarre comes from, which speaks to Vulcan and Romulan. Vulcans being very logical and being very straightforward, and Romulans being more emotional and maybe a bit more closed off.
Oh, I did have one that is interesting, and while you were talking about Romulans, a note did just occur to me. Now, this ends Picard, no mention of Remans. Are we thinking that particular element of Star Trek Nemesis is just being forgotten?
Yeah. That's a good point to raise there, and I will have to take a coin out of the Vulcan Quorum's book and contemplate that for a little bit. No, but what's interesting is in Star Trek Nemesis, Remans were kind of this worker caste. I hesitate to use the term slave, obviously, for negative connotations surrounding it, but that's exactly what they were. So whether it's a planet or moon, they were mining. The Remans were being used to mine the planet for dilithium. And as we know, the Romulan Star Empire uses artificial singularities to go to warp, and we don't really know anything about their engine designs aside from that. But they clearly are using dilithium in some form or fashion, because here we are post burn, and there are no Romulan warbirds currently out there. So far as we can tell. So it remains to be seen if the artificial singularities are in play, or if they also use dilithium to affect the matter-antimatter chain reaction, and what that all means.
Yeah, I think we must conclude, I think at this point, that dilithium was involved in Romulan engines somehow, in some way that just wasn't specified prior to this, because there's not really any other explanation for why they would be just as crippled as everyone else. Exactly.
Unless they're hiding something up their sleeve, which would be very on brand with Romulan.
Yeah, certainly with the 24th century variety. It's something that I kind of wish that they had dealt with a little bit more head on. Given that it was something that was mentioned pretty prominently in Next Gen at least once. So we'll see if they do. I wouldn't be surprised if this is the only explanation we're going to get is one that we generate for ourselves.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, that's what's great about being a part of this fandom. If you don't get an answer right away, there will be an answer sooner or later, whether it's a canon one or not. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Cool. What standout moments in this episode for you?
Well, I think the aforementioned scene with the footage of Spock from Unification II for sure. Definitely had me feeling things this episode, and I really enjoyed all of the scenes with Saru and Tarina. I thought that their back and forth was quite good. I could have used another scene of the two of them too, although I felt that their I really thought that their sequence of scenes worked really well with each other, and I wouldn't have changed anything. I just wish I had more for purely selfish reasons. I was enjoying the time spent with them.
Yeah, same. For me, definitely the scenes with Saru and Tarina. And I also really enjoyed the whole trial scene when it was active, and I especially liked how Gabrielle Burnham just kind of like ripped her own daughter apart right on the floor there.
Sure.
I was like, oh shit, this is going down.
Yeah.
It was real. Yeah, it was fun. And no one died in this episode.
No one died.
No one.
It was a surprisingly death-free episode of Star Trek. Yeah.
I don't think anyone even got a phaser pulled on them.
No, there was no real even threat of death.
Yeah. So, kudos to Kirsten Beyer for putting together a greatly narrated episode, a wonderfully written dialogue during the trial scene. I'm here for that kind of stuff. It does, one of the reasons I say it's a 7 pretty solidly for me is because a lot of it did feel a little bit surface level. And, especially with Tilly, and as we discussed earlier, it being a little bit underbaked, we often, and this is a complaint I've seen elsewhere and something I've been thinking about, how each episode presents very interesting problems, but they're resolved quickly and we don't really get into the meat of the issue. For instance, during this episode, we have some exposition between the Quorum members as they discuss what's going on the planet, but we don't really see anything on the planet. We don't really get to experience it. And I think that time spent with, the planet and getting the viewer interested in understanding what's actually going on then allows you to go into that trial sequence with a more sympathetic mind towards what's going on. And you can say, oh, no, this is real. Like, they have real issues, and Burnham is coming in here and kind of opening up a serious can of worms.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. It always helps to have, I think, a little bit more context when you have these, we're already asked to accept so much, right? There's this ancient Vulcan philosophy, doctoral dissertation, defense, quorum thing. And, we're already asked to buy into so much. It would be nice if we could see a little bit of the, quote unquote, real consequences of, what these big concepts were that they were talking about, what really is at stake. Then again, I think you get a sense from, the fact that, oh my God, like we're over Vulcan, and it's not even called Vulcan anymore.
Yeah.
And we're having to beg these people who are our closest allies for so long for, the basic scientific data. What are we talking about here? Like, how has it come to this? I think the shock, especially for longtime Star Trek fans, of seeing that new dynamic, stands in for some of what we don't get in terms of sort of a ground level view perspective of what's going on in that society.
Yes. Yes. So, shall we get into this interview bit?
Yes. I think you guys are going to be really excited to listen to Oyin. I know we were really excited to get a chance to talk to her. She was a really warm, thoughtful person who was very generous with her time. We had some technical difficulties with our internet connection with her. But she was very patient with us and worked with us, and we were able to get quite a nice conversation in for you guys to listen to.
Yeah.
Mike, what did you think of our time spent with her?
Man, I was so grateful. I mean, casual, very comfortable conversation, and I think you guys, the listeners out there, you're really going to enjoy it. She doesn't give a whole lot away on season 4. But they're in production. She had a few things to say about it. And of course, you get to know her a little bit, too. Without further ado, let's get into it.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Mike. This
Hi.
is Ian. We have a podcast called We Are Starfleet. It airs on Mondays. We do review and recap of Star Trek Discovery episodes. And it really talking about the ethos and the canon. We're both big fans. We love the series. I got to be on After Trek back in the day with Matt Myra.
Nice.
That was so much fun. It was so much fun. And, the Trek fandom has been a part of, our lives for, it feels like an entire generation, right? So, for you to sit down with us and talk to us is a real treat. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much.
Pleasure for me too. I'm new to this world. You too as well.
Yeah, what's it been like getting welcomed into the Star Trek fan base? This is such a huge franchise. What's that been like for you?
The funny thing is, I'm still getting used to it, and to be honest, I think this is my 4th year in it, and this is the first time I feel very relaxed. Feel like I'm ready to actually journey with the family. Before, I was still in shock. The past 3 years has been in shock. So that's how big it is. Because I actually did not know what I had heard of Star Trek, but I never knew what Star Trek was until I actually started in it. And it took the first 2 years for me to realize how big the world was.
Yeah.
And I think because it was in my 2nd year, I actually experienced Comic-Con. And I realized that people, sure, we take our job as entertainment, but I think that's the first time I saw people really whose lives have been changed by watching this show, whose parents' lives have been changed by watching this show. Maybe not Discovery, but the whole world of Star Trek. And that was the first time it hit me. I think I'm doing more than just playing on screen, So, yeah.
That's terrific. That's fantastic.
What were those early days like when you first stepped on the set? Was there an air of this is an entirely new thing? You just said you didn't really truly know what it was until about 2 years in.
To be honest, I think the first time I experienced, again, I come from theater, guys.
Sure.
So
which we're going to
being
talk about
on
a little bit.
So that was my first time ever stepping on any set. So my brain didn't even understand what it meant to be on set. And if my first time was a Star Trek set, you're blown away. You think it's just, two people having conversation and, they set the scene up. My theater brain is, you put, fake chairs, some tables around. But no, this was they built a ship. It was shiny. It was, it felt like I had stepped into a new world.
Wow.
I was overwhelmed for sure. Very, very overwhelmed. I saw Sonequa. She was acting and I'm like, oh shit, I think this is the world I'm walking into. I don't know what this is, but it was a little scary. But I'm the type of person I love scary. I love challenges.
Sure.
So
That's wonderful. As an actor and one with a rich stage background, what is it like being on set and interacting with with things that you can't see, but you have to, as an actor, how do you stay grounded in your process when you're being asked to perform and interact with things that you can't see, that won't be seen until months later when the visual effects are done?
Yes. My first experience of that was talking to a tennis ball. Because we couldn't have the actor there because they would come in as a hologram. So they needed to they didn't need the physical person there. And it took a lot of work to go into my brain to imagine a face there because I'm so used to talking to another person on stage, right? But I have to admit, it didn't come easy. It took a long time. There was a lot of, I believe, faking it till I made it. And I do have to thank the editors because some of the first, me on camera, the first year or two, I'm like, my goodness, how did they still keep me here? Like I might lose my job. Is this acting? Why are they paying me for this? All of that. But, and that's the great thing about being with this family. They guided me. They held me by the hand, and I felt safe enough to fail, to do better, to fail better. I'm here now.
Well, you failed up, right?
Failed up. Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Up.
Yeah.
You keep getting more to do. That's obviously a sign that someone has confidence in you. Probably a lot of people.
And I'm so, so thankful and always, always, always surprised, but very thankful and ready to step up to the challenge.
So you talked a little bit about being on screen and how you came from the stage, but how did you get onto the stage in the first place? What sparked that really creative instinct in you?
The funny thing is, I don't know. I don't know how many times I've told this story, but funny enough, I had to tell it to a friend today. But acting, it's not something I chose. I hear people say, yes, I've always wanted to be an actor, but I moved from Nigeria here when I was 16, and I had never acted in my life, and that was not what I wanted to do. I just happened to be working a regular job answering phones at the opera company. And I saw my first opera, and it seemed like they were having fun on stage. I'm like, that's what I want to do. I want to have fun on stage, and or I just want to have fun with my life. Because, just the transition from coming from a different culture here, just the struggles of that is like, okay, you know what? I want to have fun. I've never seen this. I've never experienced this. I want to do that. And a friend said, apply to schools. I Googled a school. The first school that came up, I applied. They got me in, and I haven't turned back since. Mind you, I've constantly wanted to quit. And the story of me getting Star Trek, this is, I don't know, my 10th time saying I quit acting. I moved to Vancouver. I was cleaning houses and landscaping. And I found joy in that because it just felt like it felt like I had stumbled into if that was what I wanted to do. And I wasn't fully committed. So of course I wasn't fully happy, with everything I was doing. And so I decided to take a break, and my agent said to me, do this one last audition. And it happened to be Star Trek.
Wow.
And yeah. So since then I booked it.
Wow.
I know.
And now you're here.
Yeah. It feels like a miracle. And the miracle keeps happening, it feels like, since stepping on this big stage, right?
Right? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, now you're in production on the 4th season of this series and this huge franchise with millions of fans around the world.
Yes. I'm not used to the world of social media, but at the same time, I'm getting to understand that there are people out there that look up to the work that we do, that look up to us as actors. And I want to say I am sorry that I am not as social media savvy. One day I will get there, and I will be able to mingle with.
Have you had any memorable fan interactions online or off so far?
Sometimes I get messages from people across, like from my home in Nigeria, saying it's a huge pleasure to see somebody like themselves on screen on a big show like that.
That's wonderful.
People that have never thought of going into science, thinking of it because they're seeing somebody like themselves, in front of a big ship like that. Those messages have been the ones that have been touching me. Yeah.
Wow.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
So now that you're in production for season 4, we know that there's a CBS rep on the call, so we can't ask too many questions about it. But what's it been like on set? I mean, season 3, you guys have had great reviews. Critics, audiences collectively are saying nothing but positive things so far about season 3. Season 4, obviously we know it got greenlit a while back, and now you're in production. What's the general vibe been like on set? How's everyone feeling? How are you feeling?
I feel so blessed, because during this time right now, especially during this time where every single person around the world is going through something, with the pandemic and just several other things happening around the world, being able to be on set with these people and the script, I don't know how it happens, but so many things that happened in season 3 is being reflected in the world right now. You know what I mean? And I feel like it's not as if you can predict that, but it just so happens that way. And being on set right now, just seeing everybody band together to create this beautiful show, knowing that it's actually touching lives and changing lives. I recently ran into somebody that's a huge fan of the show, but never was. And got a glimpse of something in season 2, and it changed his life. And it was at a very, very sensitive time in his life where he was contemplating life. But because seeing Star Trek just randomly, there was something that was said in one episode that changed his life.
Wow.
And knowing that we are coming together to do and be, it feels like we're being of service to the world. And seeing everybody band together, cast, crew, people, higher ups coming together to say, no, we'll still keep making this because it's bigger than us during this wild time. It only makes me want to give my all and serve this show more.
During the production of season 3, did you feel at any point when you guys were on set or pre-production around the table reads where you knew that this was very different?
I can't really say that there was a specific moment. I just felt like season 3, something settled with all of us. I think we all just became very comfortable with each other. And somehow it started to reflect in the writing. Like there were more scenes with more of us together, coming together and being a team together. And sometimes I feel like, which is true, but sometimes I feel like the writers or the showrunners, they pay attention to us, how we interact with each other. And somehow they use that and it feeds into the writing. But I felt coming into season 3, like the first couple episodes, somehow we all just sank into a comfort with each other. And
wow.
I think it's that made me feel like, oh, okay, this is a family. I've been hearing it for years, but I'm feeling like it's a family. We can complete each other's sentences. We know things about each other that we may not have shared with people that we've known for like 5-6 years. These things started to come out in just our interaction, and that made me feel like something was different. and in coming to season 3, not just in the show, but us as just individuals on set.
Wow, that's fantastic. And that is also the perfect segue to this next question here with Owosekun and Detmer. And a lot of people online are saying that there is more than a friendship going on here. And, you know, something about you and Emily Coots together on the forefront of this great starship has inspired so many people. So do you want to share a little bit about how you created this great dynamic between you two?
I don't know if I should say this, but maybe it's going to ruin it for everybody. No, it's not a spoiler. It's just when we started, Emily and I think there was this fear, you know, season 1, everybody died from the Shenzhou. And I think as actors, we're like, oh, shoot, are we going to die? And something in us made us started to make, you know, we said we're going to make a bond with each other, just as we're going to make eye contact with each other and just keep the bond going. And somehow that just took a life of its own. But in that, the bond that Emily and I have in real life, like Emily is this is my first time meeting her. Like this, in being on this show was my first time working with her. And the relationship that has grown between us is much like what you're seeing on screen. It's a deep bond has formed in us. And I mean, when there's great friendship, sometimes the lines could be blurred. The lines could be seen as blurred, and maybe that's what the audience is saying, like a deep friendship. There's nothing different from a deep friendship and romance. To be honest with you, it's just packaged differently. So it could go either way. It could just go either way. The deep friendship is there that could lead to deeper friendship, and the deep friendship is there that could lead to romance. Regardless of where it goes, the friendship is there. So I don't know what you guys think.
I think it's lovely that you guys have forged such a strong bond off screen and on. Yeah. The other day I knocked on her trailer to just say, hey, I just want to say I love you. And she's like, oh, it just came out of nowhere.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, I think there's something really special about breaking down those barriers between relationships and blending those lines, blurring those lines, as you say. That was really well said. Thank you for sharing.
Oyin, is there anything that we haven't asked you that you'd like to talk to us about?
It's not so much what I want to talk about, but I guess the things that is on my mind right now is how to make goodness.
Quick editor's note here. Oyin was expressing how she was looking to make goodness, kindness, and compassion sexy. At this point, we took the time to reconnect the audio feed to ensure clear audio. This interview has been edited for consistency and clarity.
I've never shared the Canadian dial-in number, so I have no idea what that's going to sound. Oh, hey, that's right.
Hello.
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 Yes. Is this good?
Success.
We hear you now.
That worked.
We can hear
that
you
is
now.
so
Sure did.
Clear.
Yeah, really well.
Perfect.
Wow.
Thank you so much for flexing.
Sorry about that. No,
we
not
appreciate
at all.
your
I know
patience
that
and
I am
flexibility.
What? No, this is good. Thank you.
And now you have a workaround if you're ever doing another Zoom call and your internet is not working with you.
Yes, I did not know that you could do this. You have taught me something.
Yeah.
I'm going to be teaching people now.
Well, so here's a fun fact for you, Oyin, and how our worlds collide. I am a Zoom audiovisual engineer for Discovery, the TV channel, not the Starship.
Oh, whoa. Look at you. This is magic. See? Anything Discovery is magic.
Right?
I love it. I love it.
I just like making parallels with things, just to make me feel like I'm connected to everything. Right?
Sure.
Well, the universe works like that for all of us, and everything is connected, whether we want it to be or not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very obvious.
Right. I mean, but you have to be open to it, right? I think.
Exactly. Okay.
I think you guys asked a few questions that I'm like, I don't remember, so help me.
It's okay.
We did. We were.
Yeah. Go ahead, Mike.
Okay. So we had just finished talking about the great relationship that you and Emily Coots have on set and how that translates to screen. And Ian had asked the question, is there something specific that you are really excited to talk about that no one has asked you about and you want to share it?
I guess the thing that I do want to, I was saying earlier is, I feel like I'm the type of person that I like the cheesy things of life, like, fantasy, romance, kindness, compassion, sacrifice, all those mushy things. But I also I feel like I like them because it's necessary. And I know some people cringe towards those things. And I feel like Star Trek is one of those shows that challenges you to live up to those good things, right? And so I think that I feel like my duty for myself that I want to put out there is that I want to make these things, sexy. You want to make goodness sexy. I want to make kindness sexy. I want to make compassion sexy. So that so that we have a different angle to it, so that it's not like a moralistic thing. It's that thing that we want to live up to, not just from a moral perspective, but it makes you cool to be kind. It makes you cool to be compassionate. It makes you cool to sacrifice yourself for something greater. In going back to, because I know you guys, there was I thought that there might have been a talk about 307, and I just went and recapped. But there was a moment where when Burnham, confronts the panel, or she calls the panel, and she's very strong in her belief to save the world, and her fight is righteous. It's very righteous. And at the end of the panel, it dawned on her that she needed to do the thing she's asking of them in order for them to. She needed to become vulnerable. She needed to lay down her sword, even though her fight was righteous. She needed to lay it down for them to come to her, and that's what happened. So in that moment, I'm like, yes, it's good to fight big. It's good to fight for a righteous cause, but in that fight, you can also be humble. You can be vulnerable, and sometimes that helps you win the battle. So I want to make kindness, compassion, all those mushy things sexy. That's what I want to say. That's it.
I love it.
I dig that. Yeah, that's great. I think that's fantastic. And it sounds like that moment in the latest episode, Unification 3, was a standout one for you. Were there any other moments in the whole series so far, or the first half of this season, that have been really standout moments for you?
I think one of the moments that was significant to me, though small, was the moment where I recognized Detmer was going through something before she knew she was going through something. That informed me as, okay, this is your character. That was a huge shift for me as, okay, that is, even it's a tiny moment, but it says a lot about who Owo is. And I was thankful that moment was given to me to share with Detmer, but being able to recognize that this person beside me needs help before she even does. That was another moment. and there are a few moments coming up and episodes coming up that I can't share, but you'll see it and you'll probably be like, okay, maybe that's one of them.
Maybe that was one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, who knows? Maybe you can come back on in a future episode and you can share all those moments with us.
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm here.
That would be awesome.
Happy to.
We appreciate that.
It definitely feels like there's been an undercurrent of PTSD, of trauma and growth and struggle in the series. And I think that the cast, the crew, the writers on this season have done a really good job in highlighting the realities without making them feel surface level or without paying them no heed later on. There's very real consequences. Is there anything coming up that you feel we should really be looking at when it comes to this type of underlying theme? Is there a moment or a scene or an episode that's coming up that you should tell us, the viewers, hey, pay attention?
Well, no, you touched on a good point. There's a lot of there's struggles, there's PTSD, and the thing is, like, yes, watch out for all the how it's I just noticed that this season 3, a few of our anchor leaders on the bridge will go through a shift that makes you see their humanity. You see different people that you think are very strong be shook, and it makes you question what it means to be a strong leader. I can't mention who these. I'm just going to say our leaders on the bridge, but I won't mention anybody specific. But there's one person in particular whose journey is a beautiful and painful one, but also a fight of resilience. I can't say any more than that. But yeah, I'm sorry.
I love it. You're being the perfect amount of vague and the perfect amount of detail to kind of.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Thanks for threading that needle for us. Yeah, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
Oh shoot! I'm sorry.
I'm sure CBS appreciates your vagueness as well.
Yes. I love you, CBS.
What about season 4? Are we going to get to see some more OO action?
I believe so. You
got to play that really close to the vest. Yeah.
Yep.
Yes. I believe so.
Right.
I can tell that Oyin is like, he wants to ask more questions, but I can't give it all away.
Right.
I can't help it. I'm still a fan at heart. I can't help it.
Is there anything that you're excited that's next or coming up for you outside of Star Trek? Anything you want to mention?
Outside of Star Trek, but also close to Star Trek, I've been trying to open my mind up more in terms of not just being an actor, but also like exploring what it means to direct and just having a creative eye. And I've been blessed to have some people on set, some directors take me by the hand and guiding me. And so right now, outside of working on set, I'm just trying to learn what it means to be a creator, a director. And thank God for Tunde, one of our producers, and the director of the first 2 episodes of 3. He's been a wonderful mentor so far. So right now, I'm just focusing on trying to open my mind up and find my voice as a creator. That's all I'm doing right now, and deepening my work as an actor. Nothing fancy happening.
Hey, personal and professional growth is always exciting.
Yes, that is true. The personal growth part is cultivating discipline is the other thing that I'm trying to do outside. Because I'm a big procrastinator, or, you find reasons to not do things that you want to do. So trying to cultivate discipline is another thing.
That's great.
Oyin, is there anything that we missed? Is there something else that we need to talk about, or how you feeling?
I'm feeling so good. I really am. I want to say thank you to you guys. I was a little scared, but you made it comfortable for me. So, thank you.
Yeah, we certainly enjoyed the opportunity to talk to you and the conversation that we had.
Yes, me too. And I'm here if you decide you want to talk to me again.
Hey. Don't be surprised a couple of weeks from now you get another couple of emails saying, hey, these guys want to come have you back on the show.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
You don't realize you're helping me too.
Don't threaten us with a good time.
You're helping me too. No,
we will
you're
happily
helping
have
me
you back.
too.
I love it.
Thank you so much. Thank you, truly. Thank you. This has been wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have a great night.
Yes.
Where are you? Where are you guys? You're not
I'm in
LA?
I'm in Connecticut. No, we're both East Coasters. I'm in Connecticut, not too far from New York City, and Micah, you're in Jersey.
Yep. Yeah,
also
I'm
pretty
in
close to the
Jersey,
city.
right outside of Manhattan. So.
Wow. We're all in different places.
Yeah, but I love how we have all this great technology now that just brings everybody together from the comforts of our own home.
It's where we have to stay.
So right. I know. How's that been for you guys? How have you been handling that?
I think I've been a very fortunate person. There are far too many people in the world who are less fortunate than I, in the circumstances we find ourselves in.
Yes.
Yeah, likewise. I certainly echo that. Working for a broadcast media company allows you to be more flexible, and being able to work from home is truly a blessing that so many others don't have. It's really difficult to sit when you're, I'm sure you could relate, when you sit up so high and you see other people who need help, but there's only so much you can do, and there's only so many ways you can reach out and help others. And it's like, well, how far do you go? Right.
Yes. No, I hear you. I'm always thankful every day. I thank God every day that I'm able to go to work, because I see and close people that I know in very, very, very different opposite situations. And how can I help you? I don't have the capacity to help the way you probably need the most. But it just puts things in perspective. But at least we recognize what we have, so I'm glad we're thankful.
I'm glad that we have things to be thankful for. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You guys are wonderful.
Well, you're wonderful.
You're wonderful. Oh my gosh. Never mind us. Oh my God. No, but really though, thank you. It's in these moments, in this pandemic, I've been telling everybody, you have to celebrate the small wins, because right now the big wins are on hold, right? You can find, for some people, yes, they can go out, they can do these big moves, but for a lot of us, celebrate the small things, because at the end of the day, your friends, your family, your loved ones, doing a podcast interview with a really cool person on a really cool TV show, that's a big win for me.
Oh, God bless you. Oh,
not such a small blessing here. Yeah.
Oh, God bless you. No, truly. Just to feel like I am part of your big blessing Thank you. Thank you for that.
Of course.
I'll go and keep paying it forward.
Thank you, Oyin. With that, I want to say thank you one more time. I hope you have a great night. I hope you have a great holiday. And I hope production runs smoothly.
Stay safe and healthy.
Wear masks and wash their hands.
Yep.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, man. Oyin, once again, thank you for your time with us. What a pleasure. Mike, thank you for your time, as always, this week and every week. Getting to talk to you about Star Trek is such a blast.
Oh, yes. Big shout out to Tony Black on the We Made This Pod network. And big thank you to Alicia Jeffrey, Mia Theraberge, and of course, thank you to CBS for Oyin's time.
Yes, thank you all. You guys couldn't have been more gracious with your time and working with us to put this together.
If you guys are interested in hearing more special guests, we have some cool people coming up. So make sure you stay tuned. You can be on the lookout on Twitter and Instagram at Starfleet Pod. Make sure you guys are subscribing. You're clicking that little notification bell. I actually don't care if you click the notification bell. That's just something the kids say. But yeah, Ian, thank you so much for your time tonight. I really enjoyed Unification 3. And next week, did you watch the trailer?
I did. Did you?
I actually did.
Okay.
I did.
Okay.
I did. The Sanctuary.
Yes.
Which is, it's directed by Jonathan Frakes. So we've got the man at the helm.
Yeah. I've got high expectations for this one, knowing that.
Same. Let's hold all of our thoughts and theories, and we will see you guys next week.
Yeah, see you guys next week. Thanks, Mike.
Elsewhere on We Made This. Back to the decade.
We could kind of use this to get into a broader conversation about horror movies in general, since it is October.
Yeah.
For the first time ever, the past couple of days, I watched the Alien trilogy.
Oh my god. First time?
I had never seen any of the Alien movies.
What the fuck, man? Yeah, dude.
I couldn't tell you why, but it was just something that always escaped me. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna watch the Alien movies. And
so good.
They're really good. They're really good.
Don't say the C word.
So you think visibility is very important?
Yeah, definitely. I think like getting the representation out there, and I always sort of understand more through TV. Like I learn a lot through TV and film, and seeing yourself on there is very detrimental, which is why I sort of see the importance now of people saying like, you know, when people don't see themselves in there, so like if there's not LGBT or race representation on screen, you do feel a bit bummed out, and I think that's why it's really important. Like, I'm just getting all happy over like Todd Jughead in the comics and all this, but then like it sort of helped me understand the importance of that for everyone, really.
Free with this month's issue.
I was thinking it sounds quite a lot like when you go shopping at Glastonbury, you're like, I'm just going to walk through all the stalls and stuff. Yeah, that's accurate. Also, it sounds exactly like when you go visit your mate and he's just started smoking weed. Like, dude, I've started smoking weed now. Come round my house. And you just come there and he's got his bong, and this is what his room sounds like. But I don't. But this is what my room sounds like sometimes. So you are the exception that proves the rule, Colin. You are an anomaly. Good.
Check out all of these shows and more on the We Made This podcast network.
We Are Starfleet is a podcast dedicated to Star Trek Discovery and how it relates to the story, ethos, and canon of Star Trek. Join your host, Mike Slammer, as he sits down with guests from all over the world to talk disco. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at Starfleet Pod. Follow for more Star Trek podcasts, such as The Sanctuary, a politics and economics of Star Trek pod, Rarely Going, a Star Trek Lower Decks podcast, and Make It So, a Star Trek Picard podcast. We Are Starfleet is produced as part of the We Made This network of podcasts. We Made This brings together popular culture podcasts around film, TV, music, and more that hopefully educate, excite, and don't take themselves too seriously. Check us out at www.wemadethispod.com. Original music composed and performed by Anthony Fuscaldo.